Hey, everybody.
Hey, everybody.
Welcome to the Wrestling Through the Years podcast. I am the armchair quarterback, Dizzle, and I'm here with the only real wrestling historian there is, Dutchy.
Yo.
And the man that puts the E, and everybody loves him. Eric's here, everybody.
Well, I mean, let's be a little realistic. I don't know if I'd say everybody.
Okay. Well, well, most people like him.
Well, thanks, Doug.
He puts the M, and most people like him.
Yeah.
And we're here to for our tag team rankings part 2. We are here to talk some more tag teams. We only really scratched the surface last week, and I know everybody wants to hear about your favorites, some of the greats, some of the best to ever do it, and we'll get into that today. And we're going to get right into it.
Yep.
And we're going to start with one of the greatest to ever do it. And we're first, let's go over the tag team rankings. Our categories here, our 5 categories is our criteria for ranking, and we can give 10 points for each category, all 3 of us. Individuals, chemistry, matches, longevity, and impact. Now, Cody Rhodes and Bob Holly got a 73 altogether. Motor City Machine Guns got 133 as well with the Von Erichs. The Roar Raiders got 113. Demolition got 117. The Briscoes got 138. The Ascension got 50. Good for them. The Dudley Boys got 144. I think they're our top one so far. The Harlem Heat came in at 113. And now let's talk about another one that in the Hall of Fame teams, La Resistance. Rene Dupree and Sylvain Grenier, and later on Rob Conway. Let's talk about them as individuals. I think Rene Dupree had a lot of upside. I think that's one thing you could say about that team.
He had a lot of upside. I know Sylvain Grenier, great athlete. Unfortunately, they stuck him with that model gimmick.
Mm-hmm.
Worked for Rick Martel, but not for Sylvain Grenier. But Dupree had a lot of upside, and then Rob Conway really had a lot of upside too when he was there.
Yeah.
As far as like the individual, but their accomplishments really didn't, and a lot of it was more the other boys.
Yeah.
But I would give it, I would say a 5.
I would say a 4. They were around during the
Conway had something. Sylvain Grenier is the weakest link out of all of them, I would say.
Yeah.
He's the one that you never really could have done anything with, it seemed like. So I would actually round it out as, because a young team, they did kind of blow, but I give them a 5. So what is that, Raina? 14 so
right
far?
now.
All right. Now let's go on to the next category, chemistry. How did these guys work together? I think as far as a tag team, Renee and Sylvain, I think, probably had the best out of the combinations that you could get.
Yeah, because I think Rob worked better by himself.
Yeah. He was all right with Sylvain, but
yeah,
I think it was Renee and Sylvain that kind of had the chemistry. And they worked well together, and they had, pretty good work together. I mean, what was their big tag team finishing move?
it was kind of the version of that old Harris Brothers H-bomb, except for like it was kind of a double team, like Farouk's Spinebuster.
Oh yeah,
what was it called? Like the Ooh La La or something.
The Ooh La La? Is that what it was called?
And then, but I liked Sylvain and Conway's finisher better because they did like the Magic Killer.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
the Magic Killer.
Yeah, like Gallows and Anderson used.
Is that what they called it?
That's what Gallows and Anderson called it.
What did Sylvain and Conway call it?
I don't know. Their finishing move.
That was their finishing maneuver.
They never won a tag team title, right?
No, they did.
Yeah, they won them from Kane and RVD.
Oh, that's right. Okay.
And then Sylvain and Rob won them from Benoit and Edge.
I thought they were from the Ruthless Aggression era.
So they've beaten some notable names for the titles.
Yeah.
Yeah, 4 Hall of Famers there.
And that was the first one was at one of my favorite Ruthless Aggression pay-per-views, Bad Blood 03,
Right.
which had the famous redneck triathlon.
Oh, yeah.
Ooh.
All right. So what do we give them for chemistry?
I'm going to say 7.
I'll go
I'm going to
7.
agree with Doug. They won the tag team titles from 4 Hall of Famers, so.
Well, 3 Hall of Famers and a creep.
Now their matches. This is where I'm gonna, because I think we're actually being a little bit too kind to the Frenchmen. They weren't a good team, and they were one of the things at the Ruthless Aggression era that you were like, eh. And their work would never really got there. Like I said, Renee was pretty good, and he definitely had the best work out of the group. And he seemed like he could actually do, and he had most personality too.
Yeah.
Sylvain was good at being annoying, but I do think like that match with RVD and K when they won the title, that match sucked. It
Yeah.
wasn't a good match.
What was funny was that as far as them being French, Sylvain was from Montreal.
Yeah.
So he was French Canadian.
Yeah.
Renee was actually from Paris, France.
Yeah.
Okay, so
And Conway was American.
yeah, Conway was from if you hear JR talk, Rob Conway's from Louisville, Kentucky.
That's a good JR. Yeah. So their matches, I'm going to give them a 2. They never really did anything, and there's not one that I can look to and like that was a classic.
I'm gonna say 3, just because I felt like the Dudley boys got good matches out of them.
Okay.
I'm going to say 3 too.
All right, they're sitting at 42.
Yeah.
Maybe we're not being too kind. It's just, all right, longevity. 2002 to what, 07?
No, 05. I mean, Renee left the group in 04. So 05.
3 years?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'd give that a 4.
I'll give that a 2.
Two-time tag champs?
Yes. Or no,
4 times.
yeah, 4 times because they won it a couple times.
Conway and Sylvain had a lot of
Yeah,
success. Renee only held it once.
right.
Longevity, I'll give him a 3.
Okay.
What did you guys give him?
I
give
said
it 2.
4. Eric said 2.
51.
Well, they beat the Ascension.
There you go. Impact. The 4 title reigns, I'll give them, even though, and I think they were booked kind of strong, especially in the beginning. And even though they had their success kind of later, I think in the beginning, I mean, like they had a strong kind of push, but I just don't think they ever really.
Well, I
delivered
think
those.
what happened was Sylvain got hurt in like September, October of 03. He was sidelined for a few months, and Conway and Dupree just really didn't have the chemistry.
Yeah.
And they were mainly used for jobs and whenever they felt like beating Rosie and Hurricane on television.
Yeah.
Like that was the only team they could fucking beat.
Like people remember the Quebecers more than they remember these guys. So I'll say a 3 because I think they did make a little impact. I mean, they were world champions, but not a huge impact.
I'm going to say 3 as well.
E nasty.
I'm not going to be so kind. I'm going to say 1.
All right.
The French just invaded your computer. You froze for a second.
That's why I was doing that.
The French froze Eric's computer.
Yeah, his connection's off a little bit because he's freezing and he's lagging a little bit.
Am I good now?
No.
$58 points.
Let me get.
All right.
All right. Now I think I can kind of see Eric. Or no, maybe his face froze again.
All right. Well, let's just move on.
Okay.
All right.
All right. Who's next?
Next up, we're going to go with, you know who we're going to go with?
I don't know. I'm waiting for you to tell me.
The new Midnight Express.
Well, I asked about him earlier.
Yeah. The new Midnight Express.
Bombastic Bob and Bodacious Bart. New.
You back, brother?
Am I back?
I mean, I can hear you, but your camera's still not moving.
Well, I don't think he's moving. Is it the Wi-Fi?
More than likely his Wi-Fi. All right. New Midnight Express.
Yeah, let's talk about the individuals. I
I
like Bart Gunn.
I like both guys, both
You do?
Bob and Bart. But they really weren't doing anything with them at the time, and it was more just to give them something to do.
Mm-hmm.
So as far as individuals, I'm going to give them.
Can you guys hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay. I'm just restarting my computer.
Gotcha. As far as individuals, I'd say 6.
For the new Midnight Express?
Yeah.
I mean, yeah.
It's kind of hard to punish the individuals.
Bob Holly blew.
Well, all right. What did La Resistance get as a score? 58?
58 altogether, yeah.
All right. Bob Holly Blue, you said?
Yeah, Bob Holly blew.
Okay.
I mean, at the time, I thought he was great as Hardcore Holly, and but yeah, in the new Midnights, I do as individuals because we do kind of judge the individual categories were both guys really good, and both guys were good.
Yeah.
So I will, and I mean, Bart Gunn didn't have as much success as he probably should have, but.
Well, yeah, because he was being punished for winning a shoot tournament.
Well, they never had plans for him anyway. That was the problem. You got over on something you weren't supposed to.
Yeah.
Even though that they should have just not made it a shooting end, but.
Well, and that's the thing is that Vince Russo wanted, according to Vince Russo, he wanted JVL to get punched in the mouth.
Yeah. And he did.
All right. And but then you put guys in the tournament and it's just like, okay, it's their fault for not having a plan.
Yeah.
All right, I think you're back.
Okay. Yep.
All right. It's their fault for not having a plan for Bart. It's not Bart's fault. Bart got over doing the Brawl for All thing.
Yeah.
It's their fault for discounting him and not thinking he was going to do anything. It falls on JR and Bruce Pritchard and Vince. It doesn't fall on Bart Gunn.
No.
It's their fucking fault. They should have, if they wanted Doc to win, they should have just fixed it that way.
Yeah. Yeah, Bart should have got a major push.
Yeah.
Yeah, so what do we give the individuals?
I gave him a 6.
All right. I'm going to go.
I guess Eric froze again because we.
Yep. I'm just going to go on my phone.
Okay. There we are. You look great still. Don't worry. I'm gonna go with a 6 as well. Eric?
I'm gonna go 6.
Oh God.
I thought they were a solid tag team.
Well,
All right, 18. They're at 18. Now let's go to chemistry.
I mean, the Divine Powers already hate us anyway because they keep fucking up Eric's interview.
What do we think of their chemistry, boys?
Well, because they were friends, so obviously they had good chemistry.
I think they were just trying too hard to be something that they weren't and trying to make that chemistry into.
Well, they were put in a gimmick that was doomed to fail.
Yeah, because you can't recreate one of the greatest of all time. That is a great tag team, and you can put Cornette with them, you can do all the things, but it's not enough. And it just, you can't call them that. You have to call them something else. And the whole bombastic shit and all that shit was stupid. So it's just, I'll give the chemistry, honestly, because Bob Holly does not fit in that type of gimmick. And honestly, Bart really didn't either. So I would, like, Bart was better with his brother. Well, it's kayfabe brother.
Yeah.
But Bart was better with Billy. But I will.
And they're brothers in real life, right? Billy and Bart.
No. I'll give their chemistry a 3. I didn't think it was that great.
I'm going to say a 4.
I'm going to agree with Daniel. A 3.
All right, we're at 28 so far. On to the matches.
They had matches with the Midnight Express and the Headbangers that they went over on, and then they would lose to the New Age Outlaws, Too Cold Scorpio and Terry Funk. And then
They had matches with the OG Midnight Express? Or did you mean to say rock and roll?
Rock and Roll.
Okay.
So I'm just gonna go ahead and say that
Some of those new generation matches had some good content in them. They were good matches. Like, it's like eras get looked at kind of.
well, this was Attitude Era.
I know. Well, it was the beginning of it.
Yeah, it was 98.
Yeah. But this shit stuck out like a sore thumb in the Attitude Era.
Yeah. So matches, I'm just gonna say 2.
I thought they weren't given that much time back then either.
No.
And I mean, I do think they tried to have some matches, but that whole shit was doomed. The NWA shit was doomed from the start.
Well, yeah, that Vince Russo booked that NWA storyline to prove to Jim Cornette that shit doesn't work. Like when you're booking something just for it to fail, like one, it shows what a piece of shit you really are.
Yeah.
And 2, it's just, what's the fucking point? Okay, I need this to fucking fail, so I'm going to put you guys on television. Okay, well, you're telling us that we ain't worth shit. So why the fuck, fuck you.
Yeah. But also, it just didn't make sense for the time because their audience never gave a fuck about the NWA because WWE never let them. Yeah. They never told them about talking. There was a competitor, and that was the beginning of that. That was before. I mean, NWA used to be WCW. A lot of people think.
Yeah.
So and that wasn't, and they obviously can't say that WCW is invading, but that whole thing, as far as an invasion, it's probably one of the weaker invasion storylines ever. If you could even call it an invasion, I'd give what were we on the matches?
Yeah,
I give the matches a 3. I'm a little kinder than you. Eric?
I'm going to say a 3.
All right. The new Midnights are sitting at a 36. And now we got longevity.
1.
How long did they last, Doug? This is where we go to the historian.
4 months.
4 months? That might even be worth a 0, honestly.
I mean,
I'm going to give it 0.
I mean, I'm just giving it a 1 because they were basically broken up because of the Brawl for All. Because
they weren't going to do shit with them anyway, though.
Yeah.
We were already at 36, right?
Yeah.
All right, I'm in your one now.
They're gonna be the longest. They're gonna be the lowest score, right?
Are you giving it a 0, Eric?
Yeah.
I'm gonna give it a 4. I mean, is there teams that lasted only a couple weeks? Probably, right?
Terry Funk and Too Cold Scorpio only went a couple of months.
We're not talking about. We might have to bring them up later. No.
Well, no, you asked.
I did ask. I'm going. I'll give it a 1, 2, 38. All right, Impact. I'm going 0. I think they had no impact.
Oh yeah, that is definitely 0.
Yeah, unfortunately, I have to agree.
The Ascension beat somebody. There you go. Put that in your pipe and smoke it. 20 points behind La Resistance, by the way.
So they got what, 38?
Yeah, write it down because my fucking keyboard's being an asshole. So you wrote it down again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think there's any worse tag team besides the Ascension.
The Ascension beat them, didn't they? The Ascension got a 50.
Yeah.
All right.
You get the keyboard back?
Yeah, the keyboard's working.
Good.
Don't worry, Dad. Everything's fine. All right. On to the next team. We are going to be talking about the Spirit Squad. All right. All of them were 22 minutes in. People are like, when are we getting to a good fucking team? There's been a lot of tag teams.
The one that dropped the DX.
Well, and a lot of these, when else are we going to talk about the new Midnights, you know?
Yeah.
Unless we do like a specific pay-per-view. But the Spirit Squad, I think they might do a little better than people may think. Well, they're more of a stable, aren't they?
They're more of a stable, and like when they defended the titles because they were the champions for a while, it was usually Kenny, Kenny Dykstra, Kenny Doan,
And Mikey, right? Or was it
Kenny and Mikey, and then Johnny would sometimes.
Maybe let's skip them because I would say they're more of a stable. We're only doing the 3-bird rule.
Zack Ryder was part of that, right?
No.
Oh,
No, Dolph Ziggler was Nikki.
okay. That's what I'm thinking of.
He was Nikki, and he was Chavo Guerrero's caddy.
Nick Nemeth,
Yes.
which, by the way, is his real name.
Yes. All right. Let's do somebody else. And you know what? Damn it. Let's give the people a very good team. Go ahead and name one, Doug.
Let's do the Bulldogs, Davey Boy and Dynamite.
I like that. All right. As individuals, I would give them an 8. Davey Boy is one of my favorites to ever do it. I thought he was very good in the ring and character, charisma. And even at the time, these guys were fucking professional and badass. They had the look. There was something about it. And Dynamite, even though being like a little guy, he was badass in the ring. So, and he's one of those guys that like people looked up to that, like a lot of guys like kind of mirrored their styles.
Well,
after him.
yeah, they looked up to him in the ring.
Yeah.
Obviously, we're not going to talk about the shit outside.
Yeah, but in the ring, he was pretty damn good.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I'd go 8.
I'm
I
going to
agree. Very solid tag team. One of the most popular ones in that era.
I'm going to go 9.
2 8s and a 9?
Yeah.
All right. Sitting at 25.
Already, that's a pretty good score.
Their chemistry, how did they work together?
They work together very well. Now, a lot of people say, "Oh, they lost a step after Dynamite had the back."
The back injury. Holy shit. Did you just pop something?
I think I did. So after he had the back injury, it kind of wavered off a little bit because there was some stuff that he just couldn't do. I mean, he still tried to do it anyway, but their chemistry they're cousins, or they were cousins.
Yeah,
Bless you.
they worked very well together. Bless you, by the way, for both.
Bless you, Doug.
I thought they had very good chemistry, and I would actually give them a 7.
I think I blew off the rest of my hair.
What did you give it, Doug?
To be honest, I'm going to say 9 again.
All right, Eric.
I'm gonna say 10.
All right, 51 for the Bulldogs. Matches. They had great matches with the Heart Foundation.
Great
Heart
match with
Foundation.
the Heart Foundation. The match that they had with the Dream Team at WrestleMania 2, where they main evented,
Yes.
was awesome.
Weren't they a part of a 6-man at WrestleMania 3?
Yeah, well, they had to be because Dynamite couldn't move.
Yeah.
So, they had really good matches with the Rougeos until they couldn't work with the Rougeos anymore. They had, just exceptional matches.
Yeah, I'm going to give them a 9 for this one, honestly. Yeah. I think they were one of the better. And that's when it was like, oh, tag team wrestling.
Yeah.
And they were a part of a really good tag division.
Yeah.
Yep.
And they had really good matches with Demolition, too. I'm going to give them a 10.
All right.
I'm gonna say 9.
We got a 10, baby. We're at 79. Yeah, their matches were incredible. And when you're a part of a really good, because tag team wrestling is one of those things that when it's hot, it's fucking hot.
Yeah.
And when you got a really good division, like there's been really good tag divisions throughout wrestling history. And this one that the with the Bulldogs and the Heart Foundation and the Rougeos, like you said, there was so many great fucking tag teams. That's when Survivor Series made sense and stuff like that. Because you had so many good fucking teams. They were a part of a good era of tag teams. All right. The longevity. How long did they last, Doug?
So I believe they had been together since the early 80s, so maybe about 81, 82. They came in around 84, 85 into WWE. And they basically teamed together until about 89. So I'd say about
4 years. Good 4 or 5 years.
Well, I mean, even before that. I mean, so I'd say they were together about 7, 8 years.
All right.
And the only reason why they stopped teaming is because Dynamite's demons.
Yeah. I give them a 6.
I'm going to go 7.
I'm gonna go 8.
All right. They're at 100 going into Impact.
But, well, I don't think they're going to be – well, obviously they can't beat the Dudleys here because you can't get 44 points out of 30.
Yes.
Highest they can go is, 130?
I do think the Impact gets a little wavy, though, because I think when you say the name British Bulldog, you think of only Davey. And no offense to Dynamite. But when you think British Bulldog, you think of the British Bulldog.
Right,
Davey
but
Boy
they
Smith.
had a good impact on the tag team division at that time.
Yeah, they did. And they were a big-time team.
So I'm going to say 7.
I'll give them a 6.
I'm gonna say 8.
All right, that puts the British Bulldogs at 121. Very good score. They're losing to the Von Erichs and the Machine Guns and stuff.
But they beat out Harlem Heat. Obviously, the last 2 teams we just did as well, Cody and Bob. The War Raiders.
This is our first good team.
And they beat Demolition.
Now, let's go over to AEW and let's talk
You read my mind.
Let's talk about Private Party.
That's the one I was gonna suggest.
Are you kidding me?
No.
Well, there you go. See, I got your back. All right. Private Party. When we talk about the individuals, Isaiah Cassidy and
Mark Quinn.
Very good, athletes. Always had a lot of potential.
Yep.
They got to have a couple little runs. I'll still never forget. Well, I'll wait for that to bring this up for matches. But I do think as individuals, I don't know. They're one of those teams. If you break them up, I don't think you can get really good single runs out of either of them.
They tried with Isaiah Cassidy. It just didn't work.
Yeah, I think they kind of need to be a team. So for that sake, I do think they're 2 talented young men. So I'll give them a 5.
Yeah, that's where I'm going. And they're rumored to go to WWE.
I'm going to say 4.
Them versus the Profits because it's similar gimmicks.
Yeah.
Party guys drinking.
Well, they're going to be, if they go to
Would you give
WWE,
them 4?
4. If they go to WWE, they're going to be in NXT, for a
NXT.
while.
What did Eric give them?
5.
5.
All right, 14. All right, the chemistry. I think they work very well together. I think they team very well together. I think that they have good tag team moves, but also just the way they flow together. They are a really good team in the ring. So I think that gives them a 7 in my book. I think they have really good chemistry.
I'm going to say 7 as well.
I'm going 7 too.
All right, what were we at before?
14.
All right, we're at 14.
We're really on point with our rankings today.
Plus 7 plus what you got?
All right. Yeah. So basically, it's 14 plus 21.
Okay. There we go. 35.
You know, you're the machinist. You're supposed to be better at math. I clean toilets.
We'll do trigonometry after. All right.
I don't want to do any hardcore drugs.
So what are we at so far?
35.
Going into matches.
Going into matches. So
I'll never forget that one match with the Young Bucks on the first Dynamite.
where they won.
Yes. It wasn't that. Yeah, it was either the first or the second Dynamite, but it was the beginning of that tournament they did. And you really thought the Bucks would get it, and they made these guys look like $1 million. And that's why when people talk shit about the Bucks, is they are capable of putting on a really good match. And they put on a really good match with young talent and made the young talent look amazing. And I thought Private Party did their job, and the crowd was shocked, but they loved it, and they were super over. That was a really good fucking match. And it was cool seeing them win the titles too.
Yeah.
Yep.
The Bucks just kind of always had their back, and kind of like they have good chemistry together.
Yeah. They do. That's one of the teams that the scum fucks don't mind putting together or putting over.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say 6.
I'm going to say 7.
I'm gonna go 8. All right, they're at a 56 going into longevity. How long did they last, Doug? Tilt that head back and think.
Well, they're technically still together, so
2019 until now.
yeah. So 6 years.
I don't know how long they were on the Indies, but
Were they together before AEW?
I don't know.
Yeah, that I'm not sure.
So longevity.
6+ years.
So I'll give them a 6. I don't see it breaking up anytime soon.
Nah. Well, WWE's not going to break him up if WWE wants to bring him in as a team.
Exactly.
I'll say 7 again. Since we're
Oh,
still together.
I mean, I hate it, but I'll agree with Eric.
All right. We're at a 76 going into Impact. They're a one-time AEW Tag Team Champion.
Right. And they beat the Bucks to get the titles.
And here's the thing, and this is what I will say. When I was talking about really good tag divisions earlier, when AEW first started, I think one of their like marquee things that they had was a really good tag division.
Yeah.
With the Lucha Brothers, Pride and Powerful with Santana and Ortiz. You had the Young Bucks. You had these guys. You had
Best friends.
Yes. You had multiple other teams.
SCU.
Yes, you had a really beefed up good tag division, and these guys were part, and then you would say in Private Party, and they were a big part of that at first.
Yeah.
And I do think that in the tag division in AEW is not so hot these days,
No.
but I think when they come back, they'll be a good part of it. As far as overall impact, I don't know how much they've overall impacted the business, so I'm gonna have to just give them a 3 on this one because I don't. When I talk, if someone said
AEW Impact, I would say 5, but I think I would
I was
subtract 1,
I
and I would say 4.
All right.
Yeah. I'm going to say 3.
All right. Fuck
No
me.
impact right now.
All right.
Oh, you had a point?
No. Well, what did I give it? A
3.
3 plus 3 plus 4 plus another 3 from Eric, right?
Yeah.
You think they're better off staying in AEW or going to WWE?
I think they would help beef up WWE's tag division, especially for NXT, especially now that Fraxium's gone.
Yeah.
So I think they could work well in WWE, but I think they could help AEW. So I don't know. That's a hard one. All right, next team, the Edgeheads.
Oh, God. Kurt Hawkins and Zack Ryder.
What were they called again?
The Edgeheads, because they looked and dressed just like Edge.
I mean, they were first known as the Major Brothers.
Yes. And as individuals, Kurt Hawkins never did anything for me. And, he seems like a cool guy when they talk about action figures and shit. Zack Ryder, he was always a star in the making.
Yep.
And I still like Matt Cardona. I've always been a Zack Ryder guy. Kurt Hawkins, I never thought could really work.
Even when Kurt Hawkins talks about action figures, I think sometimes he's just talking out of his ass.
Yeah, and there's certain, like, I remember him making comments on Shelton Benjamin. It's like he was given opportunities and he never worked. And it's like, dude, you were given opportunities and you never. Shelton Benjamin fucking did way more. No offense, but like when he was walking around with, what was it, a cane or whatever the fuck?
Yeah.
And that team with Rhett Titus, or not Rhett Titus. What was his name? Rex something?
Oh, Tyler Rex?
Tyler Rex, yeah.
Yeah. Individuals, I would probably say 5. And 4 of that is Zack Ryder.
Yeah, I'll go 5 too.
I'm gonna say 6 because Ryder is a star now, but it doesn't have any.
You just want to put your penis in his wife.
So you said 5, you said 6, I'll go 5. 16. Going into chemistry. I do think you could tell they were friends, and I do think they worked well together. And I do think, like, you can tell when guys are buddies and they just have that chemistry. And I do think they had good chemistry. And I do think, like, this is, like, Hawkins' best run in the WWE. And they were, like, on top with Edge. Like, yes, you're the cronies, but you're still involved in a main event storyline. And they really gave a fuck, and you could tell, and they put their all into this shit. And they were young guys that really wanted to be on TV and really wanted to make it. So I would actually give their chemistry a 7.
I'll go up a little further. I'll say 8.
I'll say 7.
All right, 38. Going into matches. What are some famous matches? They held the title. I know
good
that.
matches.
Well, remember when they were just Hawkins and Ryder, when they got back together in 2019, they beat FTR at WrestleMania.
Oh, yeah, I forgot about that shit. That was one of the underdog stories.
Yeah. And by the way, it was the first hour of the it wasn't even on the main card. It was on the pre-show. It was like the first match of the pre-show when only like 5,000 people had filed in. Vince is just like, you're getting your big moments, pal.
Was that Zack Ryder's one of his last matches in WWE?
No, because they held the titles for a while, or for a couple of months anyway. You're getting a big moment. It's going to be at 5:05 p.m. Vince, the pre-show starts at 5. I know.
I know. Oh, that was pretty good.
Oh, God.
Match I'll give 5.
Yeah.
Who did they have good chemistry with? Give me a match. Because if you can't, I'm giving them a 2.
I mean, they did have good chemistry with the Revival, FTR. In the earlier days, I would say they had really good chemistry with Carlito and Primo.
Yeah. Because Kendrick and London were done by then, right?
Yeah.
Trying to think of the SmackDown tag division.
So, but for matches, I'm just going to say 4.
I'm going 3.
Longevity, right?
What do you give him?
He already said 5 on matches.
All right. So they're at a 50.
Okay.
Is that what you got too?
Sure.
You don't know what the fuck you're doing.
I mean, I wrote down the numbers.
Did it say 50?
I didn't add them.
Oh, okay. All right. Let's go to longevity.
So as the Edge heads, they were together for about a year, a little over a year. When they got back together, they were together for about 8 months.
So almost 2 years.
Yeah.
2.
I'll give it 3.
57.
Okay.
All right. Going in Impact.
1.
1.
2. They're at a 61.
So they're better than La Resistance. They're better than the Midnights.
The new Midnight.
The new Midnights.
Don't fuck that up.
Yeah. And they're better than the Ascension.
All right. It's time. We have to talk about them. The Young Bucks.
Ugh.
It has to be brought up. It's crazy because it's when you bring up that team, you either get that reaction or you get, dude, they're so fucking good. You either get like major dick suckery or major, we want these guys to fucking get hit by a bus. Like the most polarizing tag team in history, I would say.
I just wrote down scumfucks.
I would say the most polarizing tag team in history.
Well,
because you either love them or hate them. There is no in between.
No, and the thing is that as far as their matches go, like if they just look like piece of shit human beings, like especially Matt Jackson. Like if somebody dropped a fucking anvil on Matt Jackson and he perished from this earth, now if that happens, make sure you delete this comment so I can't get implicated.
I was about to say, would you quit that? I mean, you already do it with the old.
Well, no, what I'm saying is that if somebody did that, then Nick Jackson would be likable. Because Nick Jackson is hateable because he likes his brother.
Yeah, but Matt's the better heel.
Well, and that's it. Well, that's because he's a piece of shit human being. Like there, like you said, there is no in between. And yes, I'm sure their matches are great. I know a lot of people come, when they hit the super kick party and all that shit.
Well, you are an old school wrestling fan,
yeah.
So the Young Bucks are not made for you. The Young Bucks are an interesting conversation because the Young Bucks saved independent wrestling.
Yep.
Whether you want to admit it or not, people went. ROH went from fucking 30 people in the audience to fucking like 7,000. So they were doing.
Were they like one of the original parts of the Bullet Club?
Yes, I believe so. At least they joined not too long after it was created, if they weren't OG.
So the creation of the Bullet Club and them bringing that to Ring of Honor really helped things.
Well, and them selling their T-shirts and getting the Hot Topic deal and getting in the malls and shit. And all they were doing, they were really promoting themselves as fucking and people would tell stories of like you'd go to these conventions and you'd see all these old guys and shit and the legendary guys that had great runs in the WWE and other places with nobody at their booth, and you would see the Young Bucks with fucking like 200 people lined up just waiting to get their shit signed. They do have a dedicated audience. They created a fucking company. So like they have, like, you do have to give them some notches. Do I think that they've slowly ruined that company? Is another conversation. But I do think that there are very positive things to say about the Young Bucks as a tag team and for what they've done for the wrestling industry. They have sold tickets. They have drawn money. And as a tag team, not a lot of tag team, even the most legendary tag teams can't always say that. I love the Midnight Express, and a lot of time people were paying tickets to see them. But a lot of times people were paying tickets to see Flair on top or somebody else, and they were in the mid card.
Yeah.
People pay tickets to see the Young Bucks.
Yep.
So with that said, going into the individuals, I know you're going to give them a low score. I do think that they're both young, good entrepreneurs and also very athletic and good in the ring. I'm going to give them a 6.
3.
I'm going to give it 7.
This is going to be the least agreed upon one.
Yeah.
All right, let's go into chemistry. I think this one's kind of undeniable, and there's a reason Doug does. They created their own type of style, and I don't like circus act wrestling. I don't. I like two big brutes going at it and fucking it looking believable and real. I don't love the fucking flying around shit, but I will say that their chemistry in the ring is like almost perfect, and you can tell they're brothers. We said about being buddies, but brothers is a whole nother thing.
I mean, well, also too, you have to have good chemistry when you've been giving each other hand jobs since you were 3 and 6 years old. But like, and they still do it to this day. As far as like, you know, their chemistry in the ring, like, yes, they're brothers, so they should have good chemistry. And then, well, until Nicholas Jackson realizes his brother Matthew's a piece of shit and then finally runs him over with his car. But like,
I'm going to go 9.
Chemistry, I'm going to say this is where I'm going to be a little kinder and I'm going to say 6.
Eric?
I'm going to go 10.
All right, 41 for the Bucks so far.
Now, I'll throw this question real quick, Daniel. Do you think they'll put Swerve and Ospreay over?
Yeah. Yeah, I do. I don't know, though, because Hangman's definitely winning the title, so they might have the heels.
Oh, yeah.
But I'd love Swerve.
You actually think Hangman's winning?
Yeah.
I think he's losing.
I do.
Nah, they got to take the title off Moxley.
Well, they do, but that doesn't mean they're gonna. Remember, they're retarded. I mean,
well, dude,
sorry.
Texas isn't the place to do it.
Yeah.
I hope he does. I'm a big Hangman fan, so I'll be pissed. And I like Mox.
They should, but they're really saving it for Darby.
I hear that. I don't think Darby deserves it right now.
Well, no, of course he does. No, he doesn't, but they're going to give it to him because it's the story.
I think if more fans want Hangman than Darby. Or is it
How
more
is
fans
the
just
story
want...
when he's not on TV? They haven't told the fucking story, Doug.
Yeah. Stories with Hangman. He's going to be the hero.
Watching on TV is Hangman for years.
Yeah,
that asshole went to climb a mountain.
Darby got taken out by the Death Riders. He's going to come back and he's going to beat Moxley for the title.
Yeah, it's getting a little late to make that happen.
We'll see. I think it's going to be a good match.
Yeah. Yeah. Make sure you bleep out where I said the R word.
You're ridiculous.
That's not the word I'm talking about.
Matches.
So
yeah, they're at 41. We're going on to matches. Keep up.
7. Because they do have.
I'm going to go 9. Even if it's not your style, after you sit down and watch a Young Bucks match sometimes, especially when they're on, their matches with the Lucha Brothers and shit at the beginning of AEW and their Ring of Honor shit, get the fuck out of here. They have the crowd. They're over as fuck, and they're doing good shit. Does it always work? Is it my style? Not completely, and it doesn't always work. But when it works, it fucking works. I'm giving them a 9.
I'm going to say 10 because it is my kind of style, so.
All right, 60.
Well, yeah, you like brothers that like to suck each other's dicks.
What the fuck? Longevity.
I mean, they've been together since birth. Their parents weren't smart enough to put them up for adoption. Like I swear, I
think you're done on the Young Bucks.
Yeah.
They're up there with the Briscoes.
They are not as good as the Briscoes.
It means his longevity. They've lasted a very long time. They've been together since what? Fucking 2010? 2011?
Probably like 2000, right?
So I'm gonna give them a 10.
Or no,
me
actually,
too.
even I think they started in the mid 2000s.
You're giving them a 10, Eric?
Yep.
All right, so you're both giving them 10s.
Yeah. Oh,
8.
Lately, I've been off and on with Young Bucks, but I will always be a fan.
I don't even like them. I give respect where it's due, and I'm honest and a realist with wrestling.
They got me into independent wrestling. I'll say that.
Overall impact, I think that, like I said, I think they did a lot for independent wrestling. They created a second company. They're
trying to kill it.
I know, but they caused a stir, and that doesn't always happen. And that's the biggest stir since WCW. They got a company with money off the ground, and they fucking got weekly television and TNT and all that shit. And I think they haven't made the impact that, a WWE superstar would make. But for a secondary that's not like WCW, and I don't think they've ever really competed like a WCW. Don't get me like they've never. So I can't go too high, but I do think they've had a big impact on independent wrestling. At least I'm going to give them a 7.
I'm going to go 7-2.
It looks like they're going to have a good score, so I'm going 4.
All right, 113 for the Young Bucks.
Another 113.
Yep.
They're tied with Harmony Heat and who else?
The War Raiders. All right, is there a team that you would like to talk about, Eric?
Which one?
Is
He's
there
asking you if there's a team you'd like to talk about.
Let's go to Usos.
Ooh. So
Finally, brothers that I like. Well, I mean, we talked about the Briscoes last week.
Another brother team.
Another brother team. As individuals, I mean, you've said some controversial things about Jey Uso, Eric. Me and Doug are fans. I've seen Doug eat in his underwear multiple times. And I like
when I'm upstairs, I eat naked.
I like Big Jim. And I think he's a fun babyface on his own, too. And I think he stands on his own 2 feet more than people give him credit for, especially when he's just doing jobs and shit. But he puts on good matches. I'm going to give, as individuals, I'm going to give the Usos a 9.
I'm going to say 10.
I think as twin brothers, the fact that they've stood out the way they have is pretty impressive.
Yeah,
I'm
because
going to go 10 too.
They're
The fact that Jay
individual.
won the world title and Jimmy's having a good singles run himself.
For twin brothers to really stand out as individuals and they're real individual brands now, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, we haven't seen that since Owen and Brett. Individuals.
Either Owen and Brett, or you could probably even say either Matt and Jeff or Rick and Scott Steiner.
Yeah, well, Scott definitely. Chemistry.
I mean, they're twins.
Yeah, I think they work. They have a great style in the ring together. I'm gonna give them a 10.
I'm gonna give it 10. If I'm giving Young Bucks 10, I'll give Usos a 10.
I was just gonna say
They were at 29, right?
they were at 29, so 29 plus 30 is 59.
There you go.
I think they're the best tag team in this era in the last 15 years.
Yeah, suck that, scumfucks.
All right, matches. Remember that match? Was it a SummerSlam against the Bludgeon Brothers? I don't know if it was SummerSlam. What was it when it was them? And they've had a few matches, but it was the one. And I remember John Cena backstage during the promos that match was fucking awesome.
That was was it SummerSlam or no? It was either Money in the Bank or Battleground. What are you talking? A 2 out of 3 fall?
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah, Battleground.
And
it was like the best match of the night, and then it looked like they were going to go to Ambrose and Rollins, but they decided to do an angle instead where they threw Ambrose out of the building, and then the whole show just went to hell.
Yeah. They've had great matches with the New Day.
Yeah. Great matches with the New Day, great matches with the Street Profits. I I mean, their chemistry with the New Day was just off the charts.
I really liked them with American Alpha too when they got called up.
Yeah, American Alpha, that they were really good with them. Harper and Rowan, obviously the Bludgeon Brothers, you know, they were good there. Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn.
Yep.
And the match at WrestleMania because it was such a good story.
Yeah.
And I don't give a fuck what Ric Flair says. That was the right main event for night one because it was the better story. You can't let me. It was the better match. Fuck you. Go get in the car with the Young Bucks and go.
All right. Matches.
So their matches, I'm gonna give them a 10.
I'm gonna go 10 too.
I'm gonna go 9. 88 for the Usos.
Well, they've already beaten Private Party and countless other teams.
88.
That's longevity.
All right.
Oh, I mean, they didn't start splitting them up until last year, or no, 2 years ago now.
Yeah.
And they came in. They were together for 13 years.
I'm gonna give them a 9.
I think they're gonna be reunited soon.
And they've reunited. I mean, they reunited right before WrestleMania to do some shit.
Yeah, I'm gonna say 10 again.
Yep, I'm right there with you, Doug.
They're like, fuck the Dudleys. We're trying to get.
No, I'm just trying to make sure they're miles ahead of the Fox.
All right. Impact?
10.
I think they've been the best tag team in the last 15 years in WWE.
Are we not inflating this, though?
Are we overrating them a little bit?
I think you are.
You guys overrated the Fox.
Did
That's
the
true.
have the Usos have also people have kind of grown when they're on screen as well at times, and they were kind of combined with Roman when Roman wasn't that good too, and I do think that they've had eras where they I don't know. I think overall impact. I don't think they're the greatest in the last 15 years. I do think
I'm
they're
gonna say
a
8.
team in the modern era. I really do, but I'm gonna give them a 9.
Okay.
And they are the top rated on this so far. They're beating the Dudleys at 146.
Well, what did Eric give them?
8.
Impact 8.
Oh shit! So they're doing way better than the Dudleys.
Should we do a women's tag team just for
That doesn't make sense
Why?
because if
All right,
we
add up all your shit, then.
What do you guys think of doing a women's tag team just to add some women in here?
uh
29 plus 30 plus 29. Is that another 29?
yeah, so 3 29s, a 30, and a 27.
So they're 144 right now,
Okay.
and that's before Impact, right?
No, that's everything. All right, so 59 plus 78.
But the Usos are definitely getting a high fucking score.
Use the calculator in your phone.
Yep, 144.
Yeah.
So they tied with the Dudleys.
Wow. What do you guys think of doing a women's tag team just to add something
Well, you
different?
robbed the Usos. They almost beat them.
I mean, we probably won't be
We
nice
have a
about
new. What's that guy's name that you called Sean? The referee.
Oh, Clink Blakeman.
We got a new Clink Blakeman on that. They almost got the W.
Eric had to give him an 8.
How about Doug choose next?
Should we do a women's tag team like he keeps trying to get us to do, even though we just ignored him like 5 times?
Yeah, sure.
I was thinking Sasha and Bailey, but I don't think they were together that long.
I mean, they've always been partners. It's just not like.
We don't have to. It was just a suggestion. Are you guys still there? Did I freeze again? I think they froze. Hold on. There we go.
Hold on.
Wait, not yet.
You unpaused it already?
Yeah.
Had a little technical difficulty. Sometimes the power goes out on you.
Yeah, that was weird.
I wonder if that's how
Yeah, I thought it was me.
that was crazy. Did you see our shit go dark or no?
No, I was just talking to you guys were like paused, and I thought you were just ignoring me, and I just kept talking. I don't even know. I don't remember what I was saying.
No, we went dark.
Yeah, it was weird.
All right, let's come back with another team. WWE, Lance Cade and Trevor Murdoch.
Okay. Cade. And what's funny is that this is another, like, kind of not necessarily a bad team, just a bad era for teams. But I happen to really like these guys. Well, I like Cade, or I like Murdoch.
Their matches with the Highlanders or whatever the hell their name was were good.
The Highlanders, London and Kendrick, Crime Time, they actually had decent matches with. But as far as like individuals, both very talented guys. You know, Murdoch nowadays, you know, he's a 2-time NWA champion.
Yeah. I like Trevor Murdoch.
Yeah.
I think his individuals, Lance Cade had a lot of potential and being trained by Shawn Michaels and all that.
Yeah.
But I do think that Trevor Murdoch had that old school heel look to him, and he was pretty good in the ring. He was like a good chubby heel.
Yeah, well, remember, he was trained by Harley Race.
Yeah.
So as far as individuals, I'm gonna be pretty kind here, and I'm gonna say 8.
I'm going to say 7.
I'm going to go 7.
All right, and I'm gonna do something different here. I'm actually gonna write down the total score.
No, I got it. I'm doing something different too.
Well,
It took us the power being off for 45
to
minutes.
figure out a strategy.
Yeah.
It worked out. All right.
So right now, 22.
Going into chemistry.
They had insane chemistry together.
Yeah, I thought they were very good together. I thought they worked together. Their promos individually were pretty good too.
Yeah, because Murdoch was that crazy redneck type character.
Yeah.
So personally, I would say I would give him another 8.
I'm going to give him that 7.
I'm going to go 8. Let's get into the matches. Like you said, they weren't the most, it wasn't the deepest division at the time.
No.
And you had a lot of thrown together teams and stuff. But I do think that they were like the one legitimate team that they were like the FTR of that time, it felt like.
Yeah.
Of like, that's the old school team that feels like a real tag team. And the rest of them really don't. I'll give the matches a 5. And I think that's being generous.
I'll go with 4.
You know what? I'm going to say 6. I really
Did you
didn't.
say 10?
Huh?
You say 10 or 6?
6.
Oh.
How the hell do you get 10 from 6?
Did I go yet?
Yeah, you said 5.
Okay.
So they're at 55 right now. So these ruthless aggression teams aren't doing horrible.
No. All right.
I don't know how.
Longevity. Now, this is what kills them a little bit.
It's what kills them because their first run was only 6 months, but then they split them up for about 4 or 5 months. But then when they put them back together, they were together for 2 years. Unfortunately, and I like them, but 4.
Yeah. I'm going to go 4 as well.
I'll say 4.
All right, we're sitting at 67.
It's pretty good, to be honest.
All right. Impact. Overall impact. I will say I like Cade with Murdoch a lot better than Cade and Jindrak.
Yeah.
Because that was kind of a thrown together team after they said Jindrak wasn't going to do Evolution.
Right.
I got straddled with that. And then, that didn't work as well. And I do think that not a lot of people think of them when you talk about the best or maybe the most underrated, but I do think they are thought of as an underrated tag team. And so I do think they have a bit of impact. I'll give them the 3 too. I'll give them a 3 on it.
I'm going to say 5.
I'm going to say 3.
So we're sitting at 75.
Okay.
I feel bad. I feel like they should have got more, but
Well, I mean, if you look at it, they did better than the Edgeheads. They did better than the New Midnight Express, La Resistance, the Ascension, and Cody and Bob.
all right, let's do a Dutchy favorite and let's do the Steiners.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. We'll let Doug take over this one.
It will. I mean, I got a few things to say.
Well, and the funny thing is, as far as individuals go, obviously Scotty Steiner was a huge star. Rick was always going to be known as a tag team guy or a good mid-card guy.
Yeah.
As far as individuals go, though, I'm going to say 8.
Well, the thing is Rick was the first one to challenge for the NWA title and shit back in the day. He was the first one kind of given the shot.
Yeah, because Scotty wasn't ready yet.
Yeah. I'm going to go 9 because Scott Steiner's such a fucking character.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm going with Daniel here. 9.
26.
Okay.
All right. So chemistry. I mean, come on.
10.
10.
If we're giving if I gave the Young Bucks and Briscoes 10, then yeah, definitely giving Steiners 10.
Yeah.
I think I give the Usos a 10.
You say 10 as well?
Yes.
30, so they're sitting at 56.
All right.
Matches, they could work like the really good tag team style with a really good wrestling tag team, but they could also brawl it out with you. Because they were big and bad enough to brawl, but they could also wrestle. If you look at the matches they had with the Road Warriors, with the Freebirds, Arn Anderson and Bobby Eaton, the Midnight Express themselves.
I got 2 matches for you.
Okay.
Steiner Brothers against Luger and Sting, Super Brawl.
Super Brawl 1.
And them in the Varsity Club at the Clash.
That would be Rotunda and Sullivan, right?
Yes.
At the Clash or Bash?
I think it was the Clash.
Because I know they worked a match at the Bash too.
The Bash Clash, whatever the fuck.
Yeah. I mean, I got a couple more. I mean, their stuff with Harlem Heat was pretty good.
It was very good.
Stuff with the Outsiders, even though it was always one-sided, because Hall and Nash never wanted to put them over.
What about the WrestleFest match?
With Brett and Owen?
Yeah.
That was pretty good too. And that one's never really talked about that much. The WrestleMania 9 match with the Head Shrinkers, which was pretty good, even though Scott Steiner almost killed himself.
Yeah.
But yeah, they had really good matches. I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna give their matches a 9.
I'm gonna go.
I'll say 10.
I'll go 10. 29.
I don't think there's any match I didn't enjoy about this time.
So 85 right now.
There you go.
It looks like. Longevity. Technically, they were a tag team for they started in 89. They were technically a tag team for 9 years. I mean, they would team with each other afterwards, and they would do like they were in as a tag team in TNA.
Yeah.
But longevity, I mean, once they realized the potential in Scott, they kind of had to split them up. But longevity, they still had a good run, so I'm gonna give them another 9.
I'm gonna say 9 too.
I'll go 8. $26 for that round.
Yeah. $111. Oh yeah,
111.
111 right now. We still have to do Impact. I forgot. I thought
We're sitting at 111 going into Impact. For overall Impact, I would give the Steiner brothers because, yes, Scott ended up being a breakout star in his own right, but a lot of people still remember them for that run, and they did their own thing, and they didn't need the WWE all the time. And they had a good run there when they went to WWE, and they still felt like top guys, but they were huge in Japan. They were huge in WCW. I think they were always a big deal and always felt like a legitimate badass tag team. I'm going to give them a 9 for Impact.
10 for me.
I'm also going to say 10 because they were a huge impact for me.
They're at 140. They're not
They
quite-
just missed the cut. Not the cut, but missed.
They're not quite the Usos. They're not quite the Dudley Boys.
Not quite.
But it was still, they still did pretty good.
I think we might have overrated Usos a little bit.
Me too.
Well, yeah, because I was just trying to get I just wanted them to
beat the Young Bucks so bad.
It was a spiteful vote.
Yeah, pretty much.
'Cause
All right,
I don't think the Usos should be ahead of the Steiners, but
Let's go Kane and X-Pac.
ooh,
That's a fun one.
individuals. I'm saying 8. Kenny the Legend, X-Pac
I'll
on
go
its own. On its own.
I'm gonna say 10.
So 29,
27.
27.
Yeah.
It's because they were both really good, and they were a makeshift. I remember when we did back when we did Settle It in the Ring before we kind of killed the concept because Eric thought he was Cleet Blakeman.
That's the second Cleet Blakeman run.
Yeah. Eric did it way before Sean did. But
OG Cleet.
when we did Settle It in the Ring and we were talking about tag teams, and it's like, all right, who is the best makeshift tag team of all time? And I said Kane and X-Pac, and Boxman laughed at me and said, "You're such a fucking moron." Yeah, says says Boxman, but anyway. But I truly believe that they were, for a team that was thrown together, and they weren't together very long. So when it gets to longevity, that's where it's going to, blow. But they had quite the run when they were together. And, the individuals, they're two guys that could be, I mean, Kane's in the Hall of Fame. X-Pac's in the Hall of Fame twice, but it's part of a group. So, I mean, they both have Hall of Fame careers.
Hell yeah. They deserve that. They're very
What
good.
did you say, Daniel?
What did I give it? I think I gave it a 9, right? Or a 10?
You either said 8 or 9.
Yeah. I was pretty high on
I
it.
gave it an 8. Maybe I should have done 9.
I'm pretty high on it. I like it. I like X-Pac and I like Kane. They're both legends that deserve Hall of Fame. So,
Yep.
All right, the chemistry. I thought they were, as far as we've talked odd couple tag teams, they are an odd couple tag team and a thrown together tag team, but they made the most of it. It was a fun storyline. It was even a fun breakup. They had chemistry as opponents as well. So I thought that whole story of Kane and X-Pac was really good, and they had good chemistry. And I'm glad they never made him green like they were thinking about for DX.
Oh, yeah, that would have sucked.
That would have been insane. I'm glad they didn't do that. But I thought Kane and X-Pac were actually very good together. I'm gonna give them an 8.
I'm going to say 9.
I'm going with Doug here, 9.
26, so 53.
All right. Matches. This was Attitude Era fast matches, so it's kind of hard. They did have pretty good ones, though.
Well, they had pretty good ones with the Outlaws, with the Acolytes. Their SummerSlam match against Undertaker and Big Show was pretty good. Notwithstanding the fact that during the match, Undertaker got fed up with Big Show, so he just went over to the corner and slapped the shit out of him.
That was hilarious.
Yeah. Mid-match, your partner's pissing you off, so you just go over to the corner and just slap the fuck out of him. But yeah, and they had like the Outlaws and Kane, or Owen Hart and Jeff Jarrett too, the Brood, D'Lo Brown and Mark Henry. I'd say 7.
I'll give them a 7 as well.
7 for me.
All right. 21. So we are sitting at, it looks like 74.
Yep.
All right, this is where it's going to drag him
It's
down.
going to kill them. Longevity. They didn't last long at all. How long was the run?
6 months.
6 months. I'm going to give them a 3.
I'm going to agree with that 3.
I'll say 5.
11.
All right.
85.
Impact.
As far as makeshift tag teams, they were one of the better ones. So.
Yeah, and I think they're thought of as an underrated team as well.
Yeah, weren't they on like when WWE did that top 10 show?
Yeah, they might.
The countdown show or whatever the fuck it was. They did an odd couple tag team one, right?
I believe so, yeah.
And they were ranked pretty high.
Yeah.
So I missed it, Joe. That was a good show.
It was cool. I enjoyed it.
Clinic loved that show.
I love the Monday Night Wars show they did. I'm thinking about watching that tonight.
Yeah.
Some of the networks.
In fact, I'm going to say 6.
I'm going 4. I don't think they meant that much.
I'm going to say 7. So 17. So 102?
Yep.
Well, they cracked 100.
It's very good.
So, all right. Who's next?
Arden Tully.
All right. I hate Tully Blanchard.
More than Rick?
I think Tully Blanchard. See, here's the thing. Ric Flair, you can't necessarily say is overrated back in the day. My pen's about to die, so I'm going to use a highlighter. Either that or I have to run upstairs and get another pen. No, I don't. But, like, Rick, I think, has tarnished his legacy. I feel like Tully Blanchard never had a legacy.
He lived off the Horseman.
I mean, yeah, he was a horseman, but so was Lex Luger. So was Sid Vicious.
But he's like known as one of the best incarnations of the Horseman.
Yeah.
Tully, whether you...
I think Tully's... personally, I just think Tully's overrated.
Okay, and that's fine.
That's fair.
A lot of people don't. A lot of people think Tully's the man. A lot of people think he's a dick, but a lot of people...
Well, that's the thing, too, is I don't like him as a human being, but I can... Like, I don't hate him. Like, I don't want him... I don't want to drop a piano on him like I do like a Matt Jackson or a Ric Flair. But I think Tully Blanchard's just overrated. I think he likes the smell of his own farts way too much.
I mean, I would agree. So yeah, Arden Tully is individuals.
I'm gonna give him a 7.
And they weren't the best Horseman tag team, right? Doug?
The best Horseman tag team, yeah.
Tully, who was the best Horseman tag team? In your opinion?
They were.
Unless you're a Arden Tully or Arden Gene.
Arn and Ole.
Arn and Ole. It's Gene and Ole that's the Minnesota Wrecking Crew, right?
Correct.
I'm gonna say 7.
So Eric also 7'd it.
I'll go 7.
All right. 21 to start. They had really good chemistry. I'll give them that much.
8.
I'll say 9.
I'm going to say 9 as well. So they're at 47.
They had amazing matches. I will say a lot of people think they're like one of the best tag teams of all time, and they compare FTR to them. I do think that their style was a bit boring at times.
Yeah, it very well could. It could be.
It was very technical and very good, but it did get a bit boring, and they would just keep a hold for a while, it felt like. I do think that they had really good matches, especially in the NWA against like a Magnum and Dusty type combination.
Yeah, rock and roll.
Yeah, and stuff like that. And then, as the Brain Busters, they did well here. They got a WrestleMania match in WWE.
They got a WrestleMania match. They had a really good match at SummerSlam '89 with the Hearts.
Yes.
Matches I would give them. I'll give them an 8.
I'll say an 8 too.
I'll go 9. 72.
All right, so 72 right now.
Yep. Longevity.
So they were technically a team for 2 years. Believe it or not.
Overall?
Overall.
Wow.
Well, yeah, because Arn was teaming with Ole, and then when Ole left in '87, Tully took over as his partner. So I'm going to give it a 5.
I'll say
Well, Tully, how did they break up, though? Because of the whole... They left WWE and... Because of him failing the drug test?
Yeah, because so they were going to get brought back to WCW as a team. But Tully decided, screw it, I'm going to flunk a drug test because we're leaving anyway. Jim Herd found out about it, so Jim Herd rescinded Tully's offer.
Yeah.
And then...
That's how he got stuck with Paul Roma. Or did, right? Or is that earlier than that?
It's earlier than that.
Okay.
Ole had to come back and wrestle. So, but yeah, so I give that a 5. Longevity.
I'll say 6.
+3.
You're saying 3?
Yeah.
Okay.
Overall impact, they won Tag Team of the Year in Pro Wrestling Illustrated in 1989. They won the NWA Tag Team Championships, the Mid-Atlantic version, twice. And they won the WWF Tag Team Championship once, and they're in the Hall of Fame as the Horsemen. So those are some pretty heavy accomplishments. A lot of people still have them as the benchmark of great old school tag team wrestling. I do think there's better old school tag team wrestling tag teams. That was a long sentence, but you know what I mean.
Yeah.
I do think there are better, but a lot of people may have them as the benchmark. So I think especially like an FTR, they're like they are Arn and Tully, and Tully needs to manage them. I'll give them an 8 based on impact. I think a lot of people put them in high regard.
I'm going to agree with you and say 8.
Yep. Clean sweep 8.
Well, clean sweep would be 10s.
110?
110 for Arn and Tully. They're better than Kane and X-Pac.
You're better than Kane and X-Pac.
We might do a few more, but
okay.
Oh yeah. All right, you ready?
Sure.
Breeze Dango.
Oh God.
Who?
Tyler Breeze and Fandango. Brazango.
Oh.
They came around when they did the latest brand split, right? Well, no, not the latest, because technically this last one was.
When they started teaming in 2016.
Yeah, when they did the draft and everything.
Yeah.
And they were on SmackDown. And that was that SmackDown tag division when we talk about the weird eras. And it'd be fun to go and rank the tag divisions, too, based on eras and stuff.
Yeah.
Because the 2016 SmackDown one was a bit with the Hype Bros. And and what was it with Simon Gotch and
Vaudevillains.
Yeah. They had a pretty weird division going on.
Well, and the Vaudevillains really didn't last that long.
Yeah, because that one guy hurt fucking Enzo.
Yes, Simon got hurt Enzo, and he was also kind of miserable. So they said, "All right, fuck you, you're gone."
Yeah, and he got more over fucking beefing with him on the internet than he ever did in wrestling.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, that one shoot interview got millions of fucking hits. And
yeah,
I don't know if any of his matches ever did.
Not that I remember.
but I remember he went to MLW for a
Yeah,
little
he
bit.
was with Tom Lawler for a little bit, and then he was he was aligned with Jacob Fatu for a while
Oh, there you
in
go.
the Contra unit.
Well, there you fucking go.
I mean, he was the weak link, and he sucked.
You need someone to take the jobs. But he yeah, I mean, he was.
That's the problem. He was taking too many people's jobs. He took our jobs.
So individuals for Breeze Dango. Fandango is that dude has tried so hard. Remember when he was Johnny Curtis or whatever at NXT
Yeah,
when it was still a game show or whatever?
yeah.
He tried his best, and his Breeze Dango. I mean, that was a character that it was one of those Vince characters. That, like, we're gonna get it over. And honestly,
You're gonna be a ballroom dancer, pal.
he got the dance over.
Yeah,
He did get the dance over, and the crowd did like it a lot and seemed to be into it. By this time, though, the gig was up.
yeah.
And Tyler Breeze was kind of a good Tyler Breeze was kind of a good hand in NXT, but Tyler Breeze is a fun ambassador for the company. He's still with the company, which is insane.
Yeah, not as a talent though, but as an ambassador.
Yeah, he just he does the video game shit with Xavier Woods, and he does like talent shit.
Yeah,
He'll if Michael Cole's not with Rhea Ripley on stage somewhere, he is, and he's cool. And they're cool guys, and they were young, talented guys, but they never really ended up doing much in the business. So I will give them. I'm gonna have to give them a 4.
as individuals.
Yeah,
I'd like these guys, but I'm gonna have to say 3.
I'm going to say 3.
10. We're 10 points going into chemistry. I think they worked together fine, and their charisma was pretty good.
Their vignettes for the fashion files were
That shit got over on SmackDown.
Yeah.
I forgot that was really good. That was actually good shit they were doing.
that was better than their matches.
anything they were doing in the ring.
Yeah,
I will give their chemistry because they were kind of fun and the characters did mesh. Like they worked better than the Hype Bros. So I'll give them a 6.
I'll say 5.
I'm gonna say 7.
All right. Let's go on to the matches. I mean, they were kind of the one that tag division was clearly being built around the Usos and American Alpha and not them. And they were kind of there to take the jobs. Even the Hype Bros kind of got more.
Well, the Hype Bros were the original team that they wanted to put the titles on.
That's
or like
insane.
they were the.
It seemed like it was American Alpha. Right
Well, like they thought about it, but then when they won that battle royal, but Zack Ryder ended up winning the battle royal, but then he got hurt in the match.
Yeah,
he got hurt. So American Alpha ended up with the belts, but originally it was going to be the Hype Bros, which is stupid because
Mojo Rawley blew. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
And he seems like a great guy, but he blew.
Oh, the only reason why he won the Andre Battle Royal
Gronk.
that one year is because Gronkowski was in the crowd.
Yeah, that's his boy. It's good to have connections. Matches. They had chemistry with some of those guys.
They had one good match with the Usos at that one pay-per-view at Backlash, I think, 2017.
I'll give them a 4.
I'm going to say 3.
I hate to do it, but I'm going to agree with Eric.
All right.
So we're going to 10
They're
them
sitting
again.
at 38. Longevity, this doesn't bode well for them either.
Well, no, they had a decent run in NXT.
Oh, yeah, I forgot they went to NXT and they did some shit.
I mean, they won the titles there.
Yeah.
So,
How long was their run, technically?
4 years.
It's another 3 for me.
I'm going to give them a 6.
Because it was 4 years, I'm gonna say 6 as well.
He said 3, right?
Yeah.
They deserve to be above the Ascension.
And
They had a better main roster.
and they're going
They
to
already
be.
are. Yeah.
Oh, they already are.
Yeah. Ascension got 50. They're at 53.
All right.
Let's go into Impact.
They didn't really have much of an impact, but I'm going to say 4.
I hate to say it, but 1.
I'm gonna go the 4.
You're just jealous because they both dance better than you do.
I'm gonna give it the 4 for the Fashion Files because I think that's the most memorable thing they did.
Yeah.
I think you can look back and watch that and be, oh, this is fun. But anything in the ring, no. 62.
I just don't remember too much. I mean, anything memorable about them. That's why I give them a 1. At least for myself.
Yeah, well, that was around the time I really started watching again when I moved down here.
Yeah.
Until they got really shitty around like 2018, 2019. It was getting really bad. And then, and I was like, yeah, I'm out. And then I stopped for a little while. And then AEW started. I was like, oh, this is interesting. And it got me back in.
The only time you would watch wrestling is when you had diarrhea and
Yeah.
you needed something to watch to pass the time.
Oh, I will never forget getting food poisoning from Texas Roadhouse. And being stuck in the same position with the trash can. And I was either in the bathroom shitting with the trash can and puking. Not shitting in the trash can, obviously. But shitting on the toilet and puking in the trash can. Or I'd be on the bed with the trash can with WCW 2000 playing. And it was it was Russo, WCW, and food poisoning. And it's not a great mix.
Ugh.
Even though I do go back and watch some of that stuff because I do find entertainment out of it now. But at the time, it was terrible. All right. I feel like we'd be remiss if we don't talk about the actual Midnight Express.
Now, remember, there's 2 different versions. You had, actually, even beforehand, the original Midnight Express were Randy Rose and Dennis Condrey.
Yeah.
And then it turned into Phil Hickerson. Or actually, you know what? I think because Phil Hickerson and Dennis Condrey were a tag team. But then they split up when a prank on Tojo Yamamoto turned wrong when Dennis Condrey decided he was also going to prank Phil Hickerson.
Yeah.
The prank being Tojo Yamamoto was homophobic. So Dennis Condrey said to Phil Hickerson, let's make it look like you're going to suck my dick. And we're going to freak Tojo out. And Phil's like, are you really sure that that's necessary? And Dennis is like, don't worry, you're not actually going to do it. It's going to be fine. So Dennis unbuttons.
The cactus is approved.
Dennis unzips, takes out his member, and then Tojo walks in, and Tojo's just like, no good. And he's like, he was starting to get freaked out. Or no, as Tojo walks in, he sees what's going on, and Phil Hickerson turns around, sees Tojo in, and he goes, all right, let's do it now. Dennis Condrey takes Hickerson's head and pushes it face first. Cock lands in the mouth.
What the fuck?
And then Tojo's just like, no. And he runs out of the room, and then Dennis Condrey pants around his ankles.
I don't know if we can put out this episode.
Yeah. Runs out. And they were done teaming right after, and then Dennis Condrey ended up in the Midnight Express.
To make a guy blow you. I don't know if I'd want to tag with you anymore either. That's why you got to keep your mouth closed.
Yeah.
Now, Eric, if we go past 2 hours, dude, are no shorts like ever available?
I think past 2 hours, the shorts may not be available.
Doug's like, I really
I forget. We haven't done
right,
past
we'll do 2 more.
2 hours in a while.
All right. So, but then Bobby and Dennis were like the more successful Midnight Express, and then you had Bobby and Stan.
It's Bobby and Stan. That's the team.
Okay.
I mean, but and it's also Bobby and Dennis, but Bobby and Stan is the Midnight Express. That's the GOATs in my opinion.
Okay.
And obviously with Jim Cornette
Yeah.
at manager, he fucking made it. And they were just that's the old school. Arn and Tully can eat ass when it compares to them. That's the heel fucking tag.
Oh, absolutely.
Them and the Rock and Rolls. And as individuals, because I'll really judge those three, not the guy, the blue Dennis, but I'll really judge Dennis, Stan, and beautiful Bobby. And Bobby Eaton's one of the best ever fucking do it.
Absolutely. He's one of the greatest workers of all time.
Definitely the most underrated. And those three guys, individual, I'll give them an 8.
Eric said 8 as well.
Yep.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say 10.
Do you guys want to go past 2 hours?
No.
Hell no.
We're going to do this and one more. Doug's ready to be done soon. You can tell in his beard.
I broke out the Phil Hickerson story.
Cock right in the mouth. That was crazy. All right.
It can only go downhill from
He's
here.
like, if we can't make that a short, I'm not going anymore. All right. Chemistry.
Oh, they had unbelievable chemistry, especially with Cornette as their manager.
10.
Yeah. You say 10, I say 10.
Eric?
I'll say 9.
Yeah, I thought they had one. Bobby and Stan especially, but also Bobby and Country had it.
Yeah.
They were great, and they had chemistry with whatever team they were working with. And that goes on to the matches. And them and the Rock and Roll is obviously known as like the best tag team.
Oh, it's the greatest tag team rivalry of all time.
They also had really good matches with the Road Warriors.
Including the scaffold match.
Yes.
They did have, I know a friend of ours at work dissed this team earlier, but Bobby and Stan at the 1990 Great American Bash when they worked with the Wild-Eyed Southern Boys.
Yeah.
So
you could put any two good, mediocre to really great baby faces against them, and it'd be awesome.
Yeah. So I'm gonna say 10.
Me too. Eric?
Sexy Salami?
I'll go 10.
Sexy salami. All right. How long did they last, Doug? In bed.
How
long did
that I don't know. Because we're not talking about Phil Hickerson anymore.
All right, calm down. How long?
Hold on a second.
All right.
Let's see, 83.
See, add them all up.
7 years.
Longevity, and because of like what they were able to do in that time, and because they're like known as such a great territory tag team, I'm gonna give them an 8.
I'm going to go 8 too.
I'm gonna go 9.
Where does that put us?
As far as 110, and so it does have potential to top, because we haven't got one go over 150.
We all give 10s.
With Dudley's and Usos.
Okay.
And I am giving them a 10 for Impact because they're known as the best heel tag team. And when I've asked some buddies, and especially if you ask an old school wrestling fan, what's the best? They're like, "Are you a fucking idiot? It's the Midnights." And whether you appreciate if you appreciate heels more, it's the Midnights. If you're more of a babyface guy, it's the Rock and Rolls.
Yeah.
But those were the two teams, and the Midnight was that team. And with Jim Cornette with the fucking racket, they were.
I'll give him a 10.
As am I.
I give us 140.
Oh yeah, They can't. They lost to the Usos,
Yeah.
dude.
What was the overall score for Brazongo?
62.
Okay.
140 for the Midnights.
I guess we'll do one more.
Yeah, we'll do one more. You want to know what we're doing?
Yeah.
Gold Dust and Booker T. We'll end with an oddball tag team.
You want to end with that?
Why not? They were fun. What do you want to end with?
I already wrote down Booker T and Gold Dust, so his opinion does not matter.
All right. Yeah, I think they were a fun oddball tag team. They were better than Kane and X-Pac, in my opinion.
A lot of people, and I enjoyed their backstage segments a lot better. Yeah.
I know you don't love Booker T, but I respect
As far
him.
as the individuals go, I have a high ranking for him, but go ahead.
I love Booker T, and I think he's always highly entertaining. And Goldust was highly entertaining.
Yeah.
And Ruthless Aggression Goldust was just fun. He's kind of got out of his own way and just started having fun.
Yeah.
And you could tell. And these were a lot of fun backstage segments, but the matches also delivered, in my opinion. As individuals, these guys are both Hall of Famers, in my opinion. I love Dustin and I love Booker. I'm going to go 9.
I'm gonna go 9 too, since Dustin is still doing it.
I'm also
High level too. I mean, I know ROH is not the highest level, but they're still.
Yeah.
He's still doing it.
Chemistry, I thought they were really comfortable together, and you could tell. And I thought they really made the oddball situation work, and they were a fun tandem. And Booker T, they had unbelievable chemistry. I give them an 8.
I would agree with that just based on, again, their backstage segments and their stuff in the ring because they could work very well together.
Yes.
I'm gonna say an 8 too.
51.
All right, matches.
Chris Jericho and Christian, they had really good matches with. Big Show and X-Pac, Regal and Storm. I mean, that's pretty much. The Dudleys.
Remember the Fatal 4-Way tag match at Armageddon?
Yeah, that was pretty good. Some matches I would give an 8.
I go 7.
I go 8. I go 7.
73.
All right.
Longevity didn't last long.
They were only together for 8 months.
Yeah, I give it a 2.
I have to give it a 4.
I'm gonna give it a 4 as well.
83. Overall impact, I think they're thought of as a fun team.
Yeah.
I'll give it a 5.
I'm gonna go 7.
Right in the middle.
I'm gonna say 8.
They end at 103.
Only 103?
They beat Kane and X-Pac by a point.
Yeah.
All right, this is a lot of fun, guys. We will be back for another one. Next week, we are going to do a pre-record, and we will be talking. We're still going to do All In 2023.
Okay.
Yeah, we're doing next week.
That's what we're going to do All In 2023. Thank you for joining us, Wrestling Through the Years. E Nasty, Big Dutchy Dutch, Dizzle signing out. Love you.
Later.
Love you guys. Happy 4th.
Happy 4th, buddy.